Welcome to TrailRecon, I'm Brad, and behind me is a very cool Jeep Gladiator build that is my buddy Jerry's, and he is a Jeep technician for over 10 years, and he's also a co-owner of an off-road shop. And well, he's getting ready to sell this, and I told him before he sells this, we need to take a deep dive into what he's done to this truck and why. Because somebody that's, works on Jeeps all the time, I really want to know why he built it the way he did. So, let's go get Jerry. Let's take a look at this thing. So many of you may recognize Jerry. He's been in several videos. We've had some really good conversations about Jeep stuff. And man, when you told me you were getting ready to sell this, I was like, dude, it's such a good build. We got to talk about it. Why are you selling it?
Well, I have a new project in mind.
Okay.
So I can't really afford two payments.
Okay.
So yeah, I'm trying to move it along to a better home.
All right. Well, before we get into the nitty-gritty of everything you've done to it, what year is this?
This is a 21 Gladiator Rubicon.
Rubicon. Okay. And why did you choose a Gladiator over a Wrangler?
Well, originally I was looking for a truck. So I was looking for a Ram 1500, but I knew that I was going to take it off-roading, and the Ram, let's be honest, is just not really that great for off-roading. So the Gladiator had barely come out, and I saw it, and I liked it, so I was like, yeah, that's the one I'm going to get.
Yeah, well, I have built my Gladiator for expedition. Yours is almost the polar opposite build. It's for rock crawling and getting after it. Did you know this was kind of the vision in the beginning?
No, originally the plan was just to make it more capable, but not really turn it into this. I just wanted it to look OEM. So I think originally I had like 38-inch tires, and I didn't have a fender chop and stuff like that. But it just, over time, I was like, all right, I want to be able to do this. I want to be able to do a little bit of the harder trails, and then it just turned into this now. So
yeah, well, it's a beast, and you have done some serious trails, including you've done the TrailRecon Extreme Challenge in this thing, which it performed really well.
And that's a tough trail, I gotta say. But yes, it handled it no problem. I was able to complete it, and honestly, that challenge gave me a lot more confidence in the capabilities of the vehicle. So it was honestly a really great experience. Well,
I've spent lots of time with you on the trail, but today I'm really interested to hear your perspective on why you've done everything. So let's hop around the front and take a look.
Absolutely.
I gotta say, dude, I love this color, especially in the sun, man. It looks really good.
Me too.
Yeah. All right, let's talk about the engine first, because being a Jeep technician, I want to know, what have you done to this motor?
Well, I try to keep up with the maintenance like very consistently. Oil changes like every 5,000 miles.
Okay.
I've checked the coolant. I do all maintenance on this thing. Is really good, actually.
That's it?
That's it.
So wait, there's no tune on this thing?
No tune, no nothing. I just have a taser to program the tires and the gears and all that stuff.
Okay. No cold air intake?
I do have a cold air intake. I have a filter cover, so it filters very well.
Okay.
Yeah.
You didn't supercharge it?
No, I don't believe in superchargers for a 3.6. This engine is not designed to have a supercharger.
Oh wow.
I've test driven them.
Yeah.
They don't feel that great, and the amount of horsepower that you get out of them doesn't justify spending $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 on a supercharger.
Yeah, I've seen several people have real big challenges with superchargers, but it's a little validating here coming from you. I mean, you're breaking hearts out there, though,
I'm
Jared.
sorry. I don't mean to break any hearts. That's my personal opinion.
Yeah.
I also have a Genesis dual battery system, the one that has the big module on top, and it combines the batteries automatically. It also keeps the wiring clean. It has the mounting points, mounting terminals for your electrical system. It's just a very nice component to have in there. Maintains all the proper voltages. If you have specially stuff that you attach to the vehicle, that automatically knows when to combine the batteries. So I like it. Works really well.
But pretty much stock and just doing the maintenance. You did do some serious maintenance, though.
Yes. So at about 35,000 miles, I started noticing a little bit of coolant consumption. And it is known that these vehicles consume coolant through the cylinder head gaskets. And I didn't want to take any chances, so I addressed it immediately. I removed the heads, put all new gaskets, and over at Shift, the way we do it, we put a sealant on the gasket. It's like a red sealant, and it just fills all those tiny little imperfections on the block and on the head. And it just prevents it from happening.
Yeah. So that was, you said, around 35,000 miles?
35 to 40,000 miles, and ever since then it's been working perfect.
How many miles on it now?
It's like 57.
Okay.
So yeah, it's been working really well.
Yeah, well, it runs great. Talk to me about these scoops on the hood.
This one actually cools down the exhaust. It points directly down to the exhaust, the catalytic converter on the driver's side, obviously.
Okay.
And that one is a duct to the intake.
Okay.
So air goes in there, redirects it to the intake, and then it gets sucked into the
So those are functional. They're not
Yeah.
just for looks. And who makes these?
S&B filters.
All right.
Yeah.
And that's just a direct replacement. You take the old one off, put that one on?
Yeah, but it's a little tricky because you gotta cut the insulation foam underneath, and then holding this while trying to put a screw is a little tricky.
Okay.
But it took me like 2 hours to put them on.
Okay, well,
Both
that's
of
not bad. 2 hours for a Jeep technician. That's
It
about
was a
4
little
hours
tricky.
for us regular people. All right, you got a nice light bar up there. What do you got?
Yes, that's a Pro 6 from KC.
Okay.
They make a great product.
All
I
right.
love them, and the Flex Aero 4s actually complement it really well.
Yeah.
I like to point them outwards because those have the flood portion also, so they're a combo, and they just light up.
Yeah, it's functional. I like how you paint. Did you paint them or powder coat the mount?
I color matched the light mount.
Yeah.
I'm kind of picky, so I want it to look good.
Yeah.
So I had it black originally, but I was like, it has to look better.
Yeah.
If I color match
Yeah,
them.
it looks clean. And
Yeah.
then it looks like you got your Midland radio mount up there.
Yes.
Is that an extra mount that you modified, or is that one that you bought?
So I grabbed the bracket for the rock lights that come from KC, and
Okay.
I put that in there.
Oh,
I
okay.
adapted it to fit
Nice.
the antenna.
Okay.
And it looks very clean.
It does look really clean. Now, this is a tiny little bumper here,
Yeah.
but it looks tough. Who
Oh,
makes
yeah.
this?
This is a Motobuilt Tomahawk frame chop bumper.
Okay.
And it is really, really tough. It's like a 1/4-inch steel, and it's just I like it because it's high clearance.
Super
and
high
it provides me
clearance.
a lot of room back down there. Also makes it look pretty cool. It looks pretty cool when you can see everything that's in there.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a really nice bumper. This is the last thing I put on this. I powder coated it black to
Okay.
make it look all.
But you had
nice
to
and
you had
pretty.
to cut the frame.
Yes, you have to cut the front as to be able to fit this, and put it all nice and
Okay.
snug.
So
against
it's a
the
full
body.
commitment once you do
Yep.
that. Yeah. Okay. What winch you running?
Warren VR 10. I think I've used this officially one time.
Okay.
And it was a Sandstone Canyon. One of my buddies almost rolled his Grand Cherokee, and I had to pull the rope, and I had to bring him down, and it was a whole thing.
Okay.
But yeah, it works just fine. It has plenty of power to pull this.
Nice.
Not that I ever need it,
Yeah.
but
Yeah. Well,
yeah.
it's a good looking truck. But now I want to get into the wheels, tires, and suspension. You ready to talk about that? There's a lot going on
Absolutely.
down there,
Yeah.
guys. All right. When I look underneath this Jeep, there is a lot going on in there. But before we get down there, talk to me about the fenders. These are stock fenders, but you've modified them a little bit. What have you done here?
Yeah, I did a very common fender chop, and I replaced the original clips with the American Venture Lab clip retainers, and it just makes it a lot sturdier.
Yeah.
And then I put the Quake LED lights in here. These are really great, actually.
Okay. And these aren't the stock hood latches either.
No, these are lockable.
Man, I'm seeing all kinds of things as we walk around here. Who makes these latches?
Rugged Ridge.
Okay,
Yeah,
all right.
It's actually one of the nicest ones I've seen.
Yeah.
Because again, it looks kind of OEM.
Yeah, but you
Doesn't
can
look
lock
too-
it.
Yeah, and you
Yeah.
can lock it.
That's nice. Okay. All right, let's talk about the shoes. What do you got here?
I got Nitto Trail Grappler MT 40 by 1350 17,
Okay.
and they're mounted on Raceline Rhino -38 bead lock wheels.
Okay.
Polished.
Yep.
Which is weird because I never thought I would own a vehicle with polished wheels, honestly.
They
It looks great.
It looks incredible on this truck.
Yeah. One thing that I also decided to upgrade was the brakes on this. Don't get me wrong, Gladiator brakes work really well from the factory, but I wanted some additional stopping power and more feel to the pedal, so I decided to put the TerraFlex Delta kit, and I love it. The way this thing stops, it doesn't even feel like it's on 40s. So it's a great component to upgrade your brake system.
Now we're going to get into something that people are going to be, I guarantee it's going to be in the comments. You're running 40s
Yep.
on stock axles.
Yes.
Stock Rubicon axles.
Exactly.
But they are not so stock.
Well, the only thing stuck about them is the tubing.
Yeah.
Basically.
What have you done to the axles?
I've done everything you can do to them, from knuckles, ball joints, axle shafts. I did a truss system. I re-geared them. I did steering linkage. I've done everything you can to make them capable of handling the weight and perform well off-roading.
And you've got a lot of miles on these 40s, no problems.
No problems.
Okay, what gears are you running in?
I'm running Revolution 513 gears.
513s. What axle shafts are in there?
RCVs.
Yeah, RCVs are, I mean, time and time again I've heard people say that they are just...
They are the pinnacle
strongest
of quality, man.
Yeah.
They are great.
Yeah.
They perform fantastic.
Yeah, and you replaced the knuckles.
Yes.
Why and what knuckles?
I don't like the aluminum knuckles, especially if you're going to be running like big tires like this and doing some serious off-roading. You got to have something more capable. So I put Reed Racing knuckles in them.
Okay.
They usually come on orange, but I didn't want the orange to pop too much, so I painted them black.
Okay, and you trust this. Talk a little bit about what's involved in doing that.
So the truss consists of basically tying together the left side all the way to the right side, over the top of the differential, and it just you weld basically a piece of metal all the way from the C's all the way to the other side. It's actually makes it really, really strong.
Yeah. It's safe to say that you've invested a lot of time and money into these axles. Do you think it's cheaper to do this than to buy like a 60 or a Pro Rock 44?
Well, I did it over time.
Okay.
So to me, it wasn't really that big of an expense right out of the bat. But I think right now would be a better idea if I just buy a 60.
Yeah.
However, when I did it, I wasn't thinking about changing to a 60.
I mean, I guess it makes sense if you don't have a endless budget. You can do a little bit at a time and build it up. But
and don't get me wrong, even because it wasn't like this when I started running 40s. I didn't have a truss. I was running stock knuckles, stock ball joints, stock steering.
Yeah.
I was running basically everything stock on 40s, and I wheeled it like that, and it performed really well too. I never had any issues with it.
Yeah, but eventually.
But I knew that eventually they were going to fail.
Yeah, I mean, you can't run 40s forever.
No,
Okay.
definitely not.
To run 40s, we've got to lift this Gladiator up. What suspension kit you have on here?
I have a Metal Cloak long arm kit. I kind of switched the springs, so I put 5.5-inch springs in the front and 4.5 in the rear because I don't like the rake.
Okay.
And yeah, that's basically what I got.
And why a long arm kit on a Gladiator?
Well, I wanted to increase the articulation. Geometry of it is important, and it performs really, really well.
Yeah.
Like when you're off-roading, it just does extremely well, flexing and stuff. It just corrects a lot of issues that a mid-arm kit doesn't.
Yeah, and driving down the road, I mean, the Gladiator's already long wheelbase, but I got to imagine putting that long arm kit just made it such a smoother ride.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's actually really, really comfortable to drive on the road too.
Yeah.
Yeah. You don't feel any sort of vibration or like it wanders all over the road. It doesn't.
Nice.
If you have good components and they're installed properly, you set the caster properly and you set the track bar where it's supposed to be, you're more than likely not going to have any issues.
Okay. What shocks do you have on here?
I have Fox 2.5 Performance Elite adjustable shocks, and I've had those serviced once.
Okay.
Yeah.
How many miles do you think you have on those shocks?
Maybe 20.
20.
20,000.
All right. And how often do you think they should be serviced?
Well, they say that they should be serviced every other time you go off-roading, but I don't think that's accurate.
No.
I think maybe once every 10,000 miles.
Okay.
Something like that.
So they do require a little bit of maintenance, though. All right. What about steering? Steering box is stock?
Steering box is the steel box, and I upgraded the steering linkage to a RPM 2.5-ton steering linkage system. It's aluminum, but the ends are cast, obviously, and it's actually really good.
They're big.
Yeah, well, I kind of need the sturdiness.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's pretty good. Works pretty good.
Okay. And what stabilizer are you running?
That's a Fox ATS adjustable also, because I wanted everything to match. I like the adjustability portion of the Fox because it has like 23 clicks of adjustability. I usually run it on setting 17 or 18 to maintain stability on the road.
Okay.
And I don't like it to wander or anything like that, or when I hit a pothole or anything, I don't like the steering wheel to shake all over the place. So putting it at that setting just dampens all that road imperfections.
Okay. Well, this is years of building.
Yeah.
It's come a long ways. One other thing I think we should talk about, Jerry, is the anti-rocks. Why did you choose anti-rock?
Well, it's a great product, first of all, and I was having a little bit of problems with the original one. I had a service sway bar light on the dash, and it was right before a trail. I didn't want to struggle with it or have any further problems with it, so I decided to replace it.
Yeah. Now that gives you a lot more articulation running this. How does it feel driving down the road?
Feels good, honestly. I noticed that when you put both front and rear, it does sway a lot.
Okay.
When you just have one, the sway is not that significant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, that's not something that I would put on my Jeep just because it's heavy.
Yeah.
Probably wouldn't manage it well, but for this rig, I think it works perfectly. Let's hop around to the side. We've got so much more to talk about.
Yeah.
All right, Jerry. What I'm not seeing here is
Mhm.
an aftermarket rock slider. These are
Yeah.
stock?
They are.
Why?
They perform really well, man. They are actually incredibly sturdy, and I've banged them up a little bit. I haven't even bent them. They are in perfect shape.
Yeah, I have to admit, my first JK, I had the stock sliders on there probably for the first 4 or 5 years until I finally replaced them. And when we took them off, they were beat up pretty bad, but they were still functional. You know, the only thing that I think these don't give you is a lot of outward protection, but they are strong.
They are actually pretty strong, man.
Yeah.
I have not had any issues with them. And exactly what you said, they don't give you a lot of outward protection, but they actually do protect a lot of the bottom.
Yeah.
They perform really well.
Yeah, they work well.
And they are light, by
Yeah.
the way.
Yeah.
Because some of the aftermarket ones, they are extremely heavy, and it just brings the vehicle
Yeah,
down.
it's
also.
just one more thing of weight that you add if you upgrade these.
Not only that, some of them actually sit lower than this one, and that makes you hit the rocks a
yeah.
lot more.
Yeah, you lose a little ground clearance.
Yeah.
All right, skid plates underneath?
No, I have the original ones.
Yeah.
I don't really scrape that much.
Well, I mean, you're 5.5 inches of lift and 40s. You shouldn't scrape too much.
If you pick up the right lines, you don't really scrape that much.
Yeah. Transfer case stock 4-to-1.
Stock, 4-to-1.
What do you think about an Atlas upgrade?
It'd be great. But so Atlas is absolutely fantastic, but this one is so good. I love the way this one performs. When you put it on 4 low, that 4-to-1 ratio is great.
Yeah. No roof rack.
Nope.
Nothing else.
Nothing else.
Pretty much stock over here, but there's some other goodies in the rear.
Yes.
All right, jumping over to the rear, there's actually a few things here that I wasn't aware that you did, so I'm excited to talk about it. But first of all, spare tire in the bed. Why?
Yes. Well, it's the only place where it fits. Yeah, when you have 40-inch tires, there's not really too many places where you can put it.
Yeah.
So I am in favor of having a spare all the time, so I just decided to put it in there.
And what mount is this?
That's a Rugged Ridge bed mount.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, a rock crawler doesn't need a bumper with a tire carrier hanging off the back. That's a good spot
Yeah.
for it. And then you've got a little plate system on your tailgate. What's that?
That's a mountain hatch, and it's basically like a table.
Okay.
Yeah, you put it on the tailgate, and it's pretty cool actually.
Yeah, it's like an overlander thing, Jerry. This is a rock crawler.
Yeah, but sometimes I stop to eat, Brad.
Good to go. Okay, I can see you've got an upgraded exhaust in here. What are you running?
It's a MagnaFlow Overlander.
Okay.
I love the way it sounds. Honestly, I think they are the only ones that make the 3.6 sound really, really well.
Yeah.
And I put it on. It sounds great.
You get a little extra clearance with that as well.
Yes.
Lose some weight.
Tucks in the pipe at the bottom over
Yeah.
here, so it's really good.
Okay.
I also installed 1350 drive shafts because they're way stronger. Single piece in the rear because I just don't like the bearing. In the middle, I decided to go with 1350 because 1310 is definitely not as strong as the 1350.
Now, the rear axles, you've done pretty much the same thing, truss and axle shafts?
Yes, axle shafts, they're chromoly shafts from Dana. Put a truss in it, differential cover, same gear ratio, obviously.
Yeah.
Because you can't run different ones.
No. Talk to me about these rear sway bar links. I've never seen those before.
The name of the company is 4122, and he makes these billet sway bar links. So far, they've been performing really, really well.
Okay, and how do you have those mounted there?
So there is a bracket from Metal Cloak, and it's a reinforcement bracket for the mounting point on the sway bar link. Because I'm sure a lot of you guys know, the original mounting point, that nut in the back loosens up and then it breaks the bottom of that mount, and then you have this nasty click every time you go over a bump. So when you put that, you replace the nut and you just put a bolt in a nut through it, and it's pretty good.
So what you're basically saying is I need to upgrade in the near future. Okay.
Absolutely.
And then what I'm really excited to talk about is your bracket. This is the Shift Autowerx bracket.
Yes.
Talk about this and why you guys developed this.
So this is the prototype bracket, and we were doing a ton of research on it, and this is the truck that we actually decided to put it on to test it and stuff. We made this bracket to prevent the frame from bending. Especially if you tow, you're more prominent to bend the frame. So we had a couple of Gladiators come into the shop and they had a bent frame, and it bends exactly where that bump, the original bump is in the back, where the spring sits right there. It creates a nasty bend, and then you see the gap on the bed, between the bed and the cabin. So we straightened the frame, and then we decided to kind of figure out how to prevent it from happening again, and we came up with this.
Yeah, well, it looks great. I'm excited to see it on my Jeep soon. I mean, I remember when we went into the shop, you actually had a Gladiator there. It was cracked. The frame was cracked, and you guys fixed it and then put this on there.
Exactly. That's the one that we found out where the crack happens and why it happens, because that particular Gladiator tows, I don't know, I want to say like a 4,000-pound trailer.
Yeah.
And it's fully loaded in the bed also.
Right.
So it has a lot of weight all the time. So that's the one that basically led us to make this.
Yeah.
And the way this works is it ties in one of the strongest points on the frame, and it moves it all the way back to where the sway bar link is mounted. Nice. So it's pretty good. And then you attach the bump stop to it. So
I know a lot of people are weighing down their Gladiators and towing with them. Well,
yeah.
Yours truly included, so that might be a good upgrade for a lot of folks. Then there's a skid plate in the rear. What's that?
It's not a skid. It's just a bumper. It's a bumper slider. So you put it on the hitch, and then it has actually saved my tail literally a bunch of times. Yeah.
Nice. Well, a lot of stuff in here. Let's hop in the interior and take a look inside.
Absolutely.
All right, Jerry. I always find it fascinating how people build out their interiors. Can you talk us through what you've done inside here?
Absolutely. I've only done a few things inside. I have the Midland MXT 275, and I mounted it right here next to my leg. It's easily accessible. I did the trailer brake module, because sometimes I tow a trailer, and I love this thing. And I didn't know how to operate it initially. I thought it wasn't working, and then I figured out that if you press the button, it actually activates the brakes.
Is that the Mopar one?
Yes, this is the original one. I like it because obviously it looks really clean.
Yeah.
I also have the bullet point mounting for the phone, for a camera, and for a radio. I installed this switch box from Voss Switch, and it's basically the entire handle.
Okay.
It's 8 switches in here. I have pretty much all the electronics connected here, all the lights, compressor.
Okay. So talk us through what do you have, actually go through those buttons. What do you have on there?
So this is the light bar on top. This is the FE4s on the 8 pillars. I got the radio mounted here. I got rear lights on the bumper.
Okay.
And I have the ARB compressor, which is underneath the driver's side seat, mounted on a 813 fabrication bracket, and rock lights. And then I have 2 available still. One of them, it activates the charger for the batteries on the trailer, and the other one is just open.
Okay, nice. And you've done a little custom work on the door there. What have you done?
Oh yeah, I replaced the original mesh with American Adventure Lab plates, because you know, my wife and my daughters have the habit of putting stuff in that mesh, and then I don't like that it just droops down after a while, so I decided to replace it with that one.
Nice. You pretty happy with the interior?
Yeah, I actually like it a lot.
You think you'll transfer a lot of this stuff to your new Jeep, or you think you'll do it different?
On the new one, I'll probably do a Molly panel on top, and I'll put the radio here. I'll probably get one of these again, because I like the way it's mounted.
Yeah.
And honestly, it's worked perfect for me. Have not had any issues with them.
Nice.
So, yeah, so I'm going to do some things the same, some things are going to be different.
All right, well, it's clean and it's functional. I like it.
Yeah.
All right, buddy, a couple of questions for you. Favorite trail that you've had this Jeep on?
It's going to have to be the TrailRecon Extreme Challenge, for sure.
Oh, okay, at Maris Adventure Park?
Yes.
Why did you love that so much?
It was very technical.
Okay.
It gave me a lot of experience also.
All right.
Yeah.
Stickiest situation you've ever had this Jeep?
It was also at the Maris Adventure Park.
Okay, tell me about that.
It was a section that's like a V, and you have to ride the walls, and they're really steep. At one point, I had one tire like maybe 4 feet off the ground, and on the Gladiator, that's pretty scary actually.
Yeah.
So
people don't realize that extreme challenges, it's extreme.
it's legit, man.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
actually pretty tough.
Yeah. Favorite upgrade that you've done to this Jeep?
I gotta say, it's the long arm suspension.
Okay.
Yeah, the way it performs is just great.
Right. Now, getting ready to say goodbye to this Jeep, which is
Yes.
probably going to be tough. For the new owner out there, is there anything that you would recommend that they do that you haven't done?
I would do a set of skid plates.
Okay.
And maybe a 392.
Oh, 382.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah, everybody wants one.
everybody, well, and you just got one.
Yeah.
That's your next project, which
That
is
is the
going to be
next project.
pretty exciting. I'm excited
Yeah.
to see how you build that up. Jerry, if people are interested in, finding more information about your Jeep, where can they go?
So send me a DM at Jerry from Shift on Instagram, and or call the shop, which is 442-257-2420. Ask for Michael or Jerry. Either one of us can pick up the phone.
Yeah, and if you need work done on your Jeep here in Southern California, these are the guys to go to. And you guys are also doing some projects with Instagram and YouTube where you're doing a lot of educational stuff. What do you got going on there?
Yeah, so we are starting a podcast, and what the idea is to give the viewers actual facts, information about how to fix their vehicle, common questions that are out there on internet forums that are just not accurate. We want to actually give you the facts of the things. Like, for example, can you run 40s on a 40 or 44? And the answer is yes, absolutely you can.
Yeah.
So things like that.
Awesome. Well, I'm looking forward to hearing that podcast. Guys, I hope you've enjoyed checking out Jerry's Jeep. It's always good to come out here in the desert and just get a little dirty and hang out, buddy. But check us out over at TrailRecon.com if you're looking for gear to outfit your next adventure. Until next time, safe travels.